There is something deeply humbling about this walk. To think that we're standing where St. Peter, one of Jesus' closest followers, was martyred nearly 2,000 years ago.
And now we're about to step into a basilica built in his honor. We were told by the tour guide to start in the downstairs before exploring the basilica above. The stone plaques you see lining the walls are ancient tomb fragments and inscriptions, preserved here as part of the basilica's long history.
In the Vatican Grottoes, there are chapels and burial spaces for many popes, and where tradition holds that St. Peter's tomb is located.
This large stone piece is believed to be part of the original basilica, built in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine.
When Constantine legalized Christianity, he wanted to honor Peter, so he constructed a church right over his burial site here on Vatican Hill. That original church stood for more than 1,000 years, when it was later replaced in the 1500s and 1600s. Many architectural pieces like this one were preserved.
When the original church was replaced, the papal tombs were carefully transferred into the new basilica, many now resting here in the grottos. Pope Boniface VIII served at the turn of the 14th century and proclaimed the first Jubilee year in 1300.
And here we are, centuries later, in another Jubilee year, with pilgrims arriving not just from across Europe, but from around the world, seeking prayer, repentance, and spiritual renewal.
Vatican I, held in the late 1800s, emphasized the authority of the Pope. Vatican II, in the 1960s, focused on renewing the Church and helping it engage more openly with the modern world. This is the tomb of St. Paul VI, who served as Pope from 1963 to 1978. He is best known for guiding the Church through the completion of the Second Vatican Council and was one of the first popes in centuries to travel internationally, visiting countries across 5 continents.
St. Paul VI is buried beneath this simple marble slab, a deliberate choice reflecting humility, especially in contrast to the ornate tombs of earlier centuries. This is Blessed John Paul I, who served as Pope for just 33 days in 1978. Known as the Smiling Pope, he left a lasting impression despite his brief time in office. Before becoming Pope, Albino Luciana spent decades as a parish priest, bishop, and patriarch of Venice. He was known for humility, simplicity, and speaking about faith in a way ordinary people could understand.
Carola, Queen of Cyprus, lost her throne after a civil war with her half-brother. She was forced into exile and found refuge in Rome under the protection of Pope Sixtus IV, the same pope who commissioned the Sistine Chapel.
Christina of Sweden gave up her throne in search of intellectual and religious freedom. In 1655, she publicly converted to Catholicism, a dramatic decision of a former Protestant queen. Her conversion was a major religious and political event in Europe, and the papacy welcomed her warmly, seeing her as a powerful symbol of Catholicism.
A handful of women are buried in the grottos. They are usually queens with strong ties to the church. Here lies Pope Benedict XVI, who led the church from 2005 to 2013. Born in Germany, he was a respected theologian who focused on strengthening the church's teaching and deepening its theological clarity. During his papacy, a New English translation of the Mass was introduced, making the prayers more faithful to the original Latin. He emphasized continuity with the Church's tradition, encouraged reverence in the liturgy, and wrote extensively on the life of Jesus. In 2013, he became the first pope in nearly 600 years to resign because of his declining health.
This marks the sacred site where tradition holds that St. Peter was buried, directly beneath the high altar of the basilica above.
Peter was one of Jesus' closest apostles, a fisherman from Galilee who became a central figure in the early Christian community.
In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." The name Peter actually means rock, and Catholics understand this moment as Jesus giving him a special role of leadership among the apostles. According to historical claims, Peter later traveled to Rome, where he was martyred around the year 64 during Emperor Nero's persecution of Christians.
After his death, the Christian community in Rome continued to grow, and leadership passed to those who succeeded him. In the 4th century, after Christianity was legalized, Emperor Constantine wanted to honor Peter and the growing Christian faith. He ordered a large basilica to be built directly over Peter's burial site.
Catholics consider him the first bishop of Rome and the first pope. Centuries later, the basilica we see today was built over that same sacred spot. For believers, this is a place of pilgrimage and prayer. For others, it's a place of history and heritage. But for the world today, it remains a symbol of faith that has endured for nearly 2,000 years.
You see Trish's reaction to the Basilica. It is incredible. We're going to show you some clips of what we see in here, but unless you come here, it's just incredible. Even coming up the stairs and wow. That's going to be our biggest expression, I think, is just wow, because that's all we can say.
Not just beautiful, moving in your heart.
So incredible.
St. Peter's Basilica isn't just one of the most famous churches in the world. It's a place where history, art, and faith meet in a powerful way. And for us, it's another reminder of why we travel, to learn, to experience, and to share. Thanks for exploring with us. This is Traveling Adventures with the Steeles, and we'll see you on our next adventure.